So today's question I have heard come up a lot of times recently in a bunch of different places, so I figured this would be a good place to tackle it. And the question is, how do I know whether this pain is normal or whether it's an injury and I need to stop running? So, the first thing I have to say about this is that no one, not me, not a physical therapist on Instagram, can give you personalized and appropriate medical advice without assessing your specific injury. So, always use your common sense and don't blindly follow general advice and education. That can get you into trouble. So make sure that you're taking all of this, in context and appropriately consulting when you need to. So, if you're an athlete or you're training or you spend a lot of time being active, you will hurt sometimes. That is inevitable, it's normal. And understanding what's sort of a growing pain, what's muscle soreness, what's just a little bit of adaptation that's taking some time, and what's a problem, takes some understanding of the body, it takes some experience, and it's not always easy to understand. So, the first thing I want to offer you is to trust your gut, especially if you're less experienced and you haven't maybe had this kind of issue crop up before. If something feels sketchy, then treat it as sketchy until proven otherwise and get a professional opinion. So, that means if you have a good relationship with a primary care provider, that's a good place to start, or a physical therapist who works with athletes would be good. Not so much like a random urgent care or walk-in clinic. I mean, they can treat you for an acute injury, like if you sprain your ankle or you need an x-ray, but they maybe aren't your best bet for troubleshooting a more sort of complex or nuanced issue. So let's say you're just not sure. You're not sure something is sketchy or not. You don't have a real gut feeling, but something feels kind of not quite right, and you're not sure whether you should keep running, train through it, or whether you need to stop. So there's a few things that you can sort of consider and self-assess. One is if it's a sudden and sharp and kind of escalating pain, that's a red flag that you should stop. Also, if it alters your gait, so if you find that you're running with your foot in a funny position to avoid the pain, or you're not running symmetrically, or you're somehow changing your normal running gait to avoid the pain, then that's bad, both because you could be injuring the part that hurts a little bit more, and also because you can get additional injuries from that compensation. So definitely, if that's going on, then you need a break. Another one is if you look at the area and you see like bruising, or it's especially tender over one point, that's another sign that you need to actually rest it for a little bit and let it heal. And then finally, is it getting worse or is it getting better as you move? So if you kind of feel stiff and sore and something feels kind of wonky at the beginning of a run, and after the first few minutes it loosens up and goes away, that is less concerning than something that starts out feeling kind of okay and then gets worse as you go on. So if it's that second one, that's another sign that maybe it's time for a little break. And so, if it is time for a little break, if it falls into one of those categories of like, please don't run right through this, my first recommendation is to take 3 days off from running. That can sound like a lot if you're used to running every day, and I don't mean you have to just sit on your butt for 3 days. If you can do something else like bike or swim that's a low or no impact activity and it doesn't hurt the area, absolutely do that. But 3 days off is a great place to start. Sometimes that's what it takes for something to calm down. And then that will also let you know if 3 days off doesn't make it feel better, then there might be something else going on that you should look at. And no, you're not going to lose fitness in 3 days. I know that's kind of a sore spot for some people, so to speak, and they're worried about it, but no, absolutely not, you won't. And so you just have to be patient with that time. Another thing that runners love to do is keep testing it, like hopping on that foot to see if it still hurts. Please don't do that, because the point of the 3 days off is to really rest the tissues and let it calm down. So really do your best to do that. And then at the end of the 3 days, check it out, see how it feels. Start with an easy run. Don't go right back to your schedule and say, oh, it says 2 hour long run today with 20 minutes at marathon pace. Like, that's not the right thing to do when you're coming back from managing a little niggle. Start with a short run, an easy run, maybe 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, and then you have to be honest with yourself. Does it feel better? Does it feel worse? If it feels worse, that's time for maybe a professional opinion, maybe a little bit longer of a break. If it feels better, proceed with caution, and then take it as a little bit of a warning sign. So how did I get in this position to begin with? Go back and look at your mobility. Are you doing that? Are you warming up properly? Do you need some help with your strength? What kind of imbalance led to this? Do you need new shoes? So don't just say like, okay, it's better, la la la, nothing happened. Go back and try to learn from that situation, and then pay attention. I think that this is just a hard thing for a lot of people to swallow, to say, yeah, you need some time off. Maybe you need to reevaluate. But it's much better to take 3 days off on purpose now than to take 3 months off because you have no choice later on.